If you have ever tried to get a family out the door on a Sunday morning, you know the drill. It is a mad dash to find shoes, pile into the car, and then face the hardest part, keeping energetic kids still for an hour and a half. For most of us, church operates as an event. It is a structured block of time where hundreds of people are expected to sing, sit, listen, and leave at the exact moment. The problem is that this lecture hall format expects everyone, even young children, to behave like adults. For parents, that turns a morning of rest into an exhausting exercise in crowd control. This diagram shows a different approach. Instead of a rigid timeline that everyone has to follow, the continuous church model breaks the day apart into 3 parallel loops that run continuously from morning until evening. In this ecosystem, nobody is locked into a single seat. You arrive when you want, and you move freely between different spaces based on what you or your family actually need in that exact moment. By dropping the strict start and end times, we remove the friction of forced stillness. What is left is a relaxed, accessible environment where people can actually connect. The physical layout of this model is simple. One building, divided into 3 equal-sized rooms, all connected by a central hub. There is no starting bell and no formal dismissal. This schematic maps out the core idea behind the design. It is based on the tripartite view of human nature. Tripartite means composed of 3 parts: the spirit, the mind, and the body. Each room is dedicated to one specific component. The first space is the worship room, designed for the spirit. This is a dimly lit, low-pressure environment where live music and intercessory prayer rotate continuously all day long. This image shows an 18th century Moravian settlement in Germany. These early residents actually lived this out, maintaining a continuous prayer watch 24 hours a day. Unbroken worship is the revival of a very old practice. For children and teenagers, this space is incredibly forgiving. They can stand up, sit quietly, or even leave the room after 5 minutes, and they will not disrupt a formal congregation. Having a dedicated space for the spirit means people can experience personal moments of worship at their own pace, rather than being rushed through a tightly managed schedule. The second space is the teaching room, built to engage the mind. Instead of sitting through one long sermon, you find a rotating schedule of short 30 to 45-minute presentations, much like a modern conference. This image shows the ruins of a public lecture hall in the ancient city of Ephesus. The Apostle Paul used spaces exactly like this to teach and debate on a daily basis. This room brings that constant, accessible learning back to life. Because the schedule is posted for the whole day, your family can drop in for the specific topics you care about, maybe a marriage seminar at noon, or a youth talk at 2, and then head out when your attention wanes. The third space is the fellowship room, honoring the body. Think of this as an open cafe with free snacks, comfortable couches, and plenty of loud conversation. It acts as a natural pressure release valve for the entire building. This image shows the excavated foundations of an early house church. The first Christians centered their gatherings around communal meals called agape feasts. Agape is a Greek word for selfless love, and these meals were designed to build deep family bonds among believers. Practically, this means if your toddler gets fussy during a teaching session, you do not have to go hide in your car. You simply walk out to the cafe, grab a coffee, and let them play. By giving deep learning and messy fellowship their own dedicated rooms, they happen simultaneously. Neither one has to be compromised to make room for the other. Watch how this plays out. A family arrives and immediately splits up. Parents head to the teaching room, teenagers to the worship room. After half an hour, everyone's needs change. They meet in the hub, swap environments, and head to the cafe together. Notice what is missing here. There is no rushing can be a clock, and no parent desperately shushing a child to maintain artificial silence. Surviving a strict 90-minute service leaves many families feeling drained, but participating in a fluid, needs-based ecosystem is actually restorative. When the architecture of a building aligns with the reality of human nature, you stop forcing people into rigid boxes. You end up with a vibrant, welcoming community space where families actually want to spend their entire day.